Hey there everyone, how we all doing? Today we're going to be taking a look at my personal key bindings in Titanfall 2. And we're going to focus mainly on the mobility key binding because I think the rest are totally up to you and what's comfortable for you. But I know a lot of people have been asking, what do you use for crouch? What do you use for sprint? What do you use for jump? And why do you set them the way they do? Why do you not use C for your crouch button like every other FPS? Why do you use left control? So I'm going to be answering those questions, and we're also going to be talking about why I think using left control is the correct answer for Titanfall 2, and why you should use left control. You should not change that button whatsoever, and how you can build up strength and mobility in that pinky finger to perform slide hopping to your maximum effectiveness. With all that intro aside, let's get started. So number one, as you're seeing on the screen, these are all of my key bindings that I use, period. End of discussion. Why do I choose that left control? Well, I want to have the full range of motion to press all the buttons I need to press with my thumb, index finger, middle finger, and ring finger. I want to have full mobility on all of those. I don't want to play a game where I'm using my index finger to choose, do I want to strafe right with D, or do I want to press C to crouch, and I got to move, DC, 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 DC. That is terrible. That seems like a really, really poor decision to me, because I have to choose between crouching, between throwing a grenade, which I have bound to F, reloading, which is bound to R, using my boost, which is bound to 4, using, anything else that I'm trying to access with that index finger. That seems like a really terrible choice when I have that pinky finger that's actually not doing anything at all when I'm trying to perform those actions. So if I have crouch on that left control, which is the default button, by the way, then I have free range of motion with the rest of my fingers. Very, very, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? So how do you build up the mobility, build up the strength to actually use that button and have success with it? Well, you can simply go on to Google, look up some guitar training techniques, how to build up strength and mobility in your hands. If you have a real guitar, you can start trying to play some songs in guitar, learn some chords, learn this and that. Just build up the mobility and the strength, the strength to push that string down the way you have to with your pinky finger, and then the dexterity to move from one string to the next and playing multiple different chords or notes or whatever it is that you want to do. You don't have to become a guitar pro, just learn some notes and chords, basic stuff. And you can build that strength up very, very quickly. Other ways, if you don't want to do that, but you have a Guitar Hero controller, well then you're in luck. Simply go into expert mode on Guitar Hero and play some of that. You will again build up that pinky strength and mobility, because you don't need to be moving it, in both X and Y directions. You only need to be moving it in one direction. So Guitar Hero controller will suffice just fine for all of that. Now, some other methods, and this is probably the best one that I can think of, although it's kind of hard to do now because Titanfall 2 is out, and it's really hard to tear yourself away from Titanfall 2. There's another game out there that's a free-to-play game. It's called Warframe. And long story short, this game has very similar mobility mechanics to Titanfall and Titanfall 2. So when you use your left shift button to sprint in that game, you begin sprinting, of course. You then follow it up with left control, and you will start sliding, much like Titanfall 2. The difference is, once you're sliding in that game and you press spacebar to jump, you'll perform what's called a bullet jump. So instead of implementing proper bunny hopping in that game, which uses a proprietary engine and blah, 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 they gave you this instead. So every time you hit the ground, you can just simply press Control Space, Control Space, Control Space, Control Space, and bullet jump, bullet jump, bullet jump, bullet jump over and over and control and cover a lot of space very quickly using that method. So if you learn that method, if you learn that game and how to go fast in that game, you're going to build that pinky strength very, very quickly. And you can translate that back to Titanfall without any issue whatsoever. You simply, instead of going Control Space, you go Space, Control Space, Control Space, Control. Simple. Do your best to practice on your off time when you can. Maybe even consider buying a stress ball or going to your local music store and getting one of those finger squeezy thingies for guitar players and bass players that can help strengthen your fingers up even some more. Just get used to using every finger on your hand. Don't let that pinky finger sit idly by the side while the rest of your fingers do all the work. Spread the work out, and Titanfall 2 becomes a much more playable game for you at a high level. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.